Okay. Jorja Jackson Clemson will present our program tonight, and Jorja is currently a Grand Prairie City Council member. She has served as Mayor Pro Tem, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem several times, as well as serving on the Finance Government Committee, the Grand Prairie Sports Corporation, and the Advisory Board for E. Carlisle Smith Jr. Health Center at Grand Prairie. Jorja served on several boards in Grand Prairie and was named the 2012 Woman of the Year by the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. She's a graduate of Grand Prairie High School and earned a bachelor's degree in English from the University of Texas at Arlington, and later received a scholarship to return to study music education. Jorja has been married to Dan Clemson for 51 years and has 3 children and 8 grandchildren. She has served as a Bible teacher and been a member of the praise team at Cross Point Church of Christ. And she, amazingly, our program is about her in her reign as Miss Grand Prairie in 1960. Yes, it was. And so I present to you Jorja Clemson.
All right. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Woohoo! Yay! That's a win right off the bat. Well, good evening, and thank you so much for being here. What a great day it has been today. It's been cooler. Wasn't that wonderful? And we actually got rain. We thank the good Lord for the rain. Woo! Okay, I also want to thank the historical organization and Jan for asking me to be here. And also John Wiley, who is the PowerPoint guru of the historical organization, probably other organizations. But thank you, John. He's been very patient to work through all of this historical valuable data. Let's say that. That's a nice way to say it when you're at the historical organization. Anyway, when Jan asked me to present the program, I thought, well, you know, Miss Grand Prairie Pageant, that might not be the meatiest topic. It's not civil rights movement or, you know, voter registration or anything political, but it was a meaningful topic for me, and it was a meaningful time in my life. So I'm happy to share that with you. And as you can see, I'm wearing the gown that I wore in the Miss Grand Prairie Pageant and in the Miss Texas Pageant. You'll get to see that, some slides on that in just a little bit. I tell you what, even though it wasn't a really meaty, serious topic, it sounded like fun. And after being on the city council for 8 years, I'm ready for some fun. Anyway, I was a little bit late tonight, running a little bit late, because the mayor kept me all day at a budget workshop. We've been working through facts and figures, and there's some good news for the historical organization from that workshop. I'm not going to reveal it. I'll let the mayor tell you. But anyway, it's exciting. Well, I'll just start with back when I was really, really young. And who would have thought probably the shyest little girl at Fannin Elementary School would ever be standing here in front of you, or would have ever been on the stage for Miss Grand Prairie, or would have ever gone to the Miss Texas Pageant, and would ever have served on the city council and been able to serve many people. Who would have thought that? Because I was so shy when I was in Fannin that I didn't even want to eat in the cafeteria. Someone might see me eating. Oh my, you know, that was just might be too embarrassing. And I love to sing, but you know, there was just such a weird feeling because I wanted to sing, I wanted to perform, I wanted to be there, but I was so shy. It was just like painful. So if I ever sang for anybody, if they ever talked me into it, I sang in the closet, you know, and if I felt really bold, I'd open the door a little bit and kind of peek out. So just to give you that background and history, I'm a firm believer that when the good Lord has a plan for your life, He's going to work out those details. And you know my mother, Miss Ruthie. She's going to help the good Lord. Because she started trying. Well, first she started me with Mr. Raybeck taking baton because I might have been a little bit clumsy. Maybe. I'm not saying I was totally clumsy, but we took baton, twirl, boom, boom, all that stuff. And then she would give me other opportunities, you know, to try to overcome the shyness. But the really, really life-changing thing for me was when she allowed me to start taking voice lessons with Mr. Earl Tom Kill when I was 13 years old. He usually didn't take them till they were 14 or 15. But since my sister had taken from him for years and they were good friends, he allowed me to start taking lessons. And I would go up to the basement of the old First Methodist Church because that's where he taught. And he was down there in that little dark basement. And I'm telling you, some magical things happened with Mr. Keel, Mr. Earl Tom Keel. I give him credit for helping me build confidence, and he made me sing out in public. And I'm going, oh me, I think I'm going to die. But I didn't. And it got me through it. It got me through that horribly shy stage. Now, let's see. Of course, he gave me multiple opportunities to sing throughout that time. And now let's go from 13. Let's fast forward to 1965. I was 18 years old. Now, here we are standing in the JC building, which I think is so exciting. Because the JCs, the Junior Chamber, Grand Prairie Junior Chamber of Commerce, is the one who sponsored the Miss Grand Prairie Pageant. Well, I'd had a wonderful year at Grand Prairie High School my senior year, just an outstanding year. And I don't remember if it was March or April of '65 that they started promoting the Miss Grand Prairie Pageant. And of course, when my mother heard about the Miss Grand Prairie Pageant, she thought, well, I have a plan here. I have a plan. And she came to me and said, I think you should. Well, actually, one of the JCs, I think, had asked her to ask me. Anyway, she came and asked me, and I said, what? Me? You know, I couldn't even imagine it. Because, well, for one thing, we were had very strict upbringing at our church. I mean, we couldn't even bathe. And then I was supposed to wear a swimsuit on stage. Hello. I had to think about that. And of course, I had my mother and daddy's blessing, and I thought about it. And of course, swimsuits back then were a little more modest than they are today. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's water under the bridge, as my dad would say and my mother would say. We thought about it. Of course, Mr. Keel was all about it. He says, oh, yes, we're going to run for Miss Grand Prairie, and you're going to do this and whatever. We started working on songs and everything. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't told you that should set up for our PowerPoint. I think we can start our PowerPoint, Mr. Guru John. Okay, here we were. Let me move out just a tinch. I'm taking it with me. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. here we were on Friday of May the 7th. And that says Miss Grand Prairie to be chosen tonight at the high school. And these were the only contestants. We had only 6 contestants. And you might remember some of them. The one that's Pat Daugherty, that's Weta Daugherty's sister. I don't know if you knew Becky Wagner. I think her daddy had some kind of company in Grand Prairie. Vicki McCall, Renda Gully, and Janie Gwines. Anyway, nice ladies, all of them wonderful girls. Now, let's see. That was, let's go ahead to the next one. Thank you. All right, we had some pre-things that, events where, before the pageant, where we just went up to Watson Brothers and got to try on the clothes, and it was so much fun. Got to model the clothes, and as you can see, that's me on the right, hugging a dummy.
Still does that.
I thought you might get that one. But anyway, and I was telling John Wiley, I don't remember the guy. I remember he was in our class, but I think they just had him there to model the clothes because he was cute. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thank you, John. Oh, that's another one. You remember the staircase in Watson Brothers? Okay, so we were just hanging out, and I wish I'd have bought that dress. I think it's cute. I have to tell you about, you see poor little Becky, who is beautiful up there on the left. And in the newspaper clipping, my mother saw that she had her eyes closed, so she had to fill in her eyes for her, like her eyes were open. And I'll tell you, she did that with birthday cards. If the little girl didn't have blue eyes in the birthday card, she got the colors out and made her blue eyes. So I'm sure that she did that because you see she's marked down there the date. Was that 4:30? Yeah. Anyway, so that was just one of the events that we had. Okay, John, we can go ahead. All right, we're getting ready for the Miss Grand Prairie pageant now, and it was May the 7th, 1965, and as you can see, it was sponsored by the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce, and on all of the official pageants, they had Vonda K. Van Dyke, who was the Miss America for 1964. And then, oops. This is just an example. I think I have it up here, but that's an example of the program. It shows you some of the businesses that sponsored or that bought an ad. And we'll just see if you recognize any of these. John just keeps wanting to get to those pretty girls over there. Okay, we had Taylor Pontiac. Does anybody remember when we had a Pontiac dealership on Main Street? Okay, Cicero Drug. Everybody went to Cicero's that lived in Grand Prairie, right? I mean, was old enough. Let's see, Avery Real Estate, Mathis Food Mart. That was up in this neck of the woods. I believe it was just on Main Street, not far. Let's see. And somebody said, were these the ones who sponsored you? I said, no, they just randomly put our picture in there. And did you notice what our telephone numbers were? AN4. AN4, yes, Andrew, of course. All righty, that just gives you a little clue. Here we are, the night of the pageant. Oh, it was so exciting. Actually, oh yeah, there's the dress. I don't know where the gloves are. Besides, we don't wear gloves much anymore. But these, let me see if I can reach these without. These were actually my shoes that I wore, but you can see my feet have grown since then. I'm not going to try to squeeze in those, I can tell you. And they weren't very comfortable. But they, in the write-up for this evening, they said that this was the largest crowd they'd ever had at a Miss Grand Prairie pageant, and there were over 1,000 at the H.H. Chambers Auditorium that evening. So it was an exciting, exciting night. And this is just before we had drawn for numbers. And as you can see, some of us have our numbers showing. And that's the order which we came out. And of course, we had to do evening gown, talent, and swimsuit. And we did an interview prior to the pageant. And we also had a question and answer at the pageant, just like they still do. And you see Pat Doherty's sister again on the second from right. Okay, thank you, John. That's just to give you a little clue. I wore this in my talent. I wore a different dress for the evening gown. And I did get this dress, or my mother took me over to Dallas. She knew where to find all the pretty stuff. We went to Wally Williams, which is over in North Dallas. I don't know if it's in Preston Center. I don't know exactly where it is. Come on, y'all. Let's groove. Huh? That's all right. That's cool. Mildred's got a cold. But this is where I was singing. Well, let's see. I got to sing in 4 languages and played my auto harp. But Mr. Keel was accompanying me. I only played the auto harp on one of the songs. And we did, let's see, Granada, La Via Rose. I don't remember all the songs, but ended up with an all-American one that's It's a Great Country, and it was a very good patriotic number. All righty, that just gives you a clue. All right, this was Miss Grand Prairie 1964, Susan Moore, who crowned me, and that was after the pageant. Now I want to tell you what they asked me. You know, they had us up there. I don't remember if they did 3 finalists or asked all of us questions. But we had to draw our question out. And they said, okay, you have this big picnic planned. And you've invited a lot of people, and it's going to be a great event and all this kind of stuff. And it starts to rain that day. What are you going to do? What would you do? And I thought for a minute. I said, you know, I think I'd just have it inside, turn on all the lights, and pretend the sun was shining. Hello. I don't know if that was good or bad, but they evidently liked it. It was positive anyway. And it's what I would rather be inside. I don't like ants and things to get in my food. Anyway, that was the question, and I got the crown. And the good news about the crown is I got it. The bad news about the crown is it broke, and I think I threw it away. You know, or I would have worn my crown tonight. I'm sorry, but I would have. Okay, we can move on. And this is just, I think this was after the fact, and we came for a photo op because some of the girls were missing, but I don't know if this is just like I know Janie was first runner-up, Renda Gully was second runner-up, and I don't remember what Pat was, but I'm sure she won something, you know, like something else. I'm not sure. But anyway, that was Don Kramer, a JC, and this, who does it say? Paul Renault, publicity chairman for the pageant. And those guys worked really hard. I mean, they did a lot of work organizing and getting the pageant back together because they hadn't had it for a while and then started it back. Okay, that was just the article that they sent out, and I liked reading that because I think it told what I won. I know I got a $500 scholarship. Yay. I think that's one of the points that cinched it for me when Mother kept saying, well, run, you might get that scholarship. Okay. And they gave me a nice watch and a $200 scholarship to Miss Wade's modeling school in Dallas, which I never went to. I got busy at college and everything, after the pageant. So, and besides, I have to tell you, my mother did drive me over there to look it over, and I just didn't have the heart to get out. I just didn't feel right about getting out of the car and going in there. It just didn't feel right. And I don't know why, if I was just shy or what, but I didn't have a connection there, so and it was in Dallas, All right, that's just an example of the nice things, how the people were so supportive, so fabulous, so wonderful. That was from Randy Penwell. Some of you remember Penny Penwell, who is a dear friend of my mother's and worked tirelessly in lots of organizations.
Was Randy her husband?
No, Randy was her son.
Oh, her son.
Uh-huh. Randy was her son. Oh, and this is Cliff Turner, and he was my sponsor, whatever that means. But he went with me. Would take me if I was going to another pageant, to whatever. And he was so kind and nice, and he was very supportive. And I want to tell you that was the first pageant I'd ever seen, the Miss Grand Prairie pageant, when I was in it. I wasn't like a professional pageant person, and which a lot of people do now, because that gives them such great experience to go to the next one and go to the next one. I don't know how they do that with they must not have the residence requirement anymore. I don't know how they do that, but I know they get a lot of scholarships and get a lot of experience by doing that. Anyway, all right, there's Cliff Turner, and that was my Miss Grand Prairie official car, courtesy of Graf Chevrolet. You see my mama peeking out there? She's going, here I am.
How long did you have the car?
Oh yeah, John. I think I had it for a week. A whole week. Yes, but I think if I had a parade or something like that, if they needed to do something. But anyway, and there it was after the pageant with Mother and Daddy. I don't know where we were there, but all right, yes, here it tells about that. Oh, I wanted to make sure Mr. Keel and Maxine Bridehop and Charles Vick were here. Mr. Keel, it says providing some of the entertainment was Earl Tom Keel, who accompanied some of the contestants, Maxine Bridehop, director of the pageant, and Charles Vick, who directed the Grand Prairie High School stage band. Okay, Mr. Keel, of course, he was fabulous. Maxine Bridehop, I always wanted to take dancing, but we couldn't do that at our church. But I still liked the costumes, and after I got old, I took dancing. From Marianne Little. I had to go up there and take a little tap dancing. And here's that official car keeps showing up. But they were giving me the keys. Let's see. I'm going to be using that while representing Grand Prairie in the city in various functions. I just don't recall ever using it, but it was a nice thing and good advertisement for them. Okay, now this was after the Miss Grand Prairie pageant, and Catherine Allen, who was with the Grand Prairie News, came out and did a photo shoot to go on, that little insert that was in there on Sundays or whatever. And so this was out in our vending warehouse. She came out and she thought the moon rocket would be good because I was about to blast off to the Miss Texas pageant. And you can see there's a little horse kiddie ride over there and all of those good things. Now, I'm at the Miss Texas pageant. Oh man, that was so exciting. It was pretty overwhelming. But that was at the poolside media day where all the photographers from the different papers came and took photographs. And as you can notice, we had even bigger hair than I have today, if you can believe that. And of course, Miss Haltom City, Miss Irving, they didn't always pair us with somebody exactly, but maybe if we were going to go somewhere, they said these three ride together, whatever. But and that was my other evening gown on the evening gown competition. And that dress, for y'all who are costume people, I'd been in the Miss GPHO court the week before or 2 weeks before, and I needed a dress for that. So I went over to this place, something Benet, and they had Mike Benet or something like that, and they had all kind of formals. And I wanted a white one. They didn't have a white one in my size, so they had a light pink one. Well, light pink, okay. I said, I really want a white one. They said, well, I said, I have to have it for so-and-so, but for the Miss, whatever it is, Grand Prairie High School. But I'd like to wear a white one in the pageant. They said, well, you can borrow this one and wear it one time and return it, and we'll get you the white one. That was nice. So that was my white one. And I could have worn it tonight, but I gave it to my granddaughter in case she needed a costume for something. And that was the lineup. You know, we had to go out, and they had different groups, of course. There were 64 of us in the Miss Texas Pageant that year. And we had to go out in groups and then had to do our quarter turns, you know. And they'd tell you, somebody would sing a little quarter turn song, and you'd turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right. And that's me, second one. And if you'll notice this, the girl that's the third from the right, I think she was Miss Carroll County. Well, you'll see her again. I'll just tell you, you'll see her again further down the way. Okay, that was the night of my talent, and I wasn't too sure. I did my own hair always, except my aunt, Mary Boyd, had this hairdresser. That's a picture of her. You can see that later. Had a hairdresser, and she says, oh, she wants to come over and do your hair for your talent. I said, okay. She did, and then she pulled all my bangs back, and I'm not sure I like that as well. But you know what? As my mother says, and Daddy said, that's water under the bridge. So there you go. And these are those shoes. The earrings, I think, are maybe somewhere down at Mother's. So these aren't the original earrings. All right, that was in Fort Worth, and it was 1965. And here we have Miss Hurst, Miss Arlington, Miss Grand Prairie. Now, I thought you'd like that because that was the hat luncheon. The luncheon where we wore our hats, and of course they were all unique and different. Can you believe how perfect her blonde flipped hair is? So cute. And that's the same ring I have on. Now, John asked me, he said, did they really eat that week? I said, well, we kind of just shuffled food around on our plates because we didn't want to gain a pound. Oh, that's all right. I'm done with that. And of course, this was a swimsuit competition. There's Miss Arlington again. Okay, the full week ended. I came home. I didn't win Miss Texas, but I learned so much. And it was the first time for a little 18-year-old out of Grand Prairie, Texas, to go up there. And I was excited to have gone. Now, Cliff Turner, felt so sorry for him. They so wanted me to be in the top 10. They said, if she just be in the top 10, we'll be blah, blah, blah. So he attacked one of the judges or afterwards. You know, not really. I mean, he just confronted him. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. What is this? You know, asked so many questions. Said, well, where did she come in anyway? And he said, oh, it was probably about 14. And you know what? I said, 14's good out of 64. I'm going to take that for a first-time pageant person and count it as a win. And besides that, I look at all the experience I got. My goodness, I would never have gotten to do that. And I see why these girls, it helps them build confidence. It helps them build relationships. And I see the value in it now. But, of course, I don't agree with everything they do in the pageants now, but they don't ask me, you know. Let's go back to that one more time, because I wanted to see what it said. No, that's not the one. Uh-oh, Miss Minnie Bowles passed. Services set for Minnie Bowles. Okay. And her sister was Miss John Trimble. I have ADD, so we're just going to read that too, okay? Anyway, all right. Now back to the pageant. All right, now here I am on another card. See, even though I didn't win that pageant, I was still Miss Grand Prairie all year. And I got to represent Grand Prairie in different things. And here we were at Hodges Food Store, and they were going to give away a Ford Mustang. So I got to wear my Western boots from Letty Brothers and an outfit from Letty Brothers. I had to buy it myself. But anyway, I have that. Now, where are we, John? Are we about to wrap up? Oh, the next year, one of my very, very dear friends who was going to be here tonight, but she had a family situation come up. But Miss Paula Henderson Hawkins, that's Paula, and she was one of the contestants the very next year. And see, we were both, Mr. Keel always double cast the Capers, the GPHO Capers, which was the big musical. And the year we were, 1964-65, was Little Abner. And we were both Daisy May. So I loved her very much, I still do. And we even shared a blonde wig. I liked her so much, I let her borrow my wig for her night. But she was not able to be here, but she's a precious person. Now we can go on to the next one. And here we are back in 1966. And as you can see, we have nearly twice as many contestants. And you can see my friend Paula, second from the left. Paula Henderson Hawkins now. And some of you may know Judy Sellers, who was right there. I don't remember the names of all of them, but Glenda Stiles Idle, who has gone to heaven. She was in my class. And I said, remember that girl that was Miss Carroll County? She came back and ran for Miss Grand Prairie in 1966. And this is Mary Donberry Hill, Joy Wright. Is that, you remember Joy Wright? No. Okay. That's okay. You don't have to remember everybody. I don't remember everybody either. But that was my last official duty, is to come back. And Paula, my friend, won. So she was Miss Grand Prairie the next year, and I got to crown her. So that was extra special. I had a crummy picture of that. I mean, I don't mean a crummy picture. I mean the quality was crummy. Right, John? Oh, no, that's not it. Go back. Thank you. That's perfect. Actually, she didn't have her driver's license. And I knew she was going to get a car or get to drive a car or something like that. And so she tells me this. I don't remember this. She says, do you remember when you put the crown on my head? And you said, now dummy, you have to get your driver's license. I didn't, surely I didn't say that. But she says I did. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This is Linda Atkins Lang. And this was in 1968. And actually, evidently, they didn't have, either Paula was gone, or well, it wouldn't be Paula, because she was 66. So evidently, the pageant lapsed, or else whoever won didn't come back, and they asked me to come back and crown the 1968. I guess I was the nearest living Grand Prairie, Miss Grand Prairie. I don't know. But she won, of course, and I got to crown her. So that, let's see, does that wrap up what? Oh, okay. So I hope you've enjoyed my sentimental journey through 1965 as Miss Grand Prairie. And I want to tell you, it's such an honor. I've gotten to represent Grand Prairie for so many years. And now the good Lord has allowed me to be on the city council, and I get to represent Grand Prairie wherever I go, and it's such an honor and such a pleasure and such a blessing. And I thank you all for letting me share these personal moments with you. God bless you all, and thank you.